Hello and welcome to this edition of Back in History. In this edition, we present to you the life and times of Omar Bongo, the second president of Gabon, who ruled as president for 42 years and only vacated from office when he died in 2009. He was born on 30th December 1935. At birth, he was named Albert Bernard Bongo. He later converted from Christianity to Islam, and from then he took the name Omar. His parents gave birth to 12 children, and Omar was the youngest child and the last born of the family. His parents were of the Bateke ethnic group. Omar learned to crawl and later learned to walk, and when he came of age, he was enrolled in primary school and later enrolled in secondary school in Brazzaville. On completion of his secondary education, he gained employment at the Post and Telecommunications Public Services. He served here for some time and later joined the French Army, where he served as second lieutenant and later as first lieutenant in the French Air Force. He was variously deployed to Brazzaville, Bangui, and Fort Lamy, present-day N'Djamena, in the Republic of Chad. He served in the Air Force for many years before being discharged as a captain. Omar Bongo then returned to Gabon and took active part in the politics of the country. He took part in the independence movement along with other nationals of Gabon, and in 1960, Gabon was granted independence by France. Election was held across Gabon, and Léon Mba was elected as the first president of the country. Omar Bongo worked closely with the new government and was appointed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and later appointed as Assistant Director and later appointed as Director of the Presidential Cabinet in March 1962. In September 1965, he was appointed as Presidential Representative and placed in charge of Defense and Coordination. He was later appointed as the Minister of Communication and Tourism. Omar Bongo had the trust and confidence of his boss. In the course of time, the health of President Mba began to wane. The president thus needed a trusted person to assist him officially in the administration of the country. For this reason, President Mba appointed Omar Bongo in November 1966 as Vice President of Gabon. In March 1967, another election was held in Gabon with President Mba contesting on a joint ticket with Omar Bongo. The election went in their favor, and President Mba effectively secured another term in office with the younger Omar Bongo as his deputy. It has been reported that during this second term, President Mba's health had become really bad, and for this reason, he allowed enormous powers and responsibilities for Omar Bongo to run the affairs of the country. Unfortunately, during this said second term, President Léon Mba died, thus creating a vacuum in government. The country was thrown into national mourning. 4 days after the announcement of President Mba's death, Vice President Omar Bongo was announced as the new president of Gabon. This was on the 2nd of December 1967. Omar Bongo occupied this seat since 1967 till his death in 2009, a period of 42 years. At the time of his ascension to power as president, Omar Bongo was only 32 years old. He became one of the youngest presidents in the world at the time. There was a sense of happiness and jubilation in the country that a younger person was on the saddle as the second president of the country. But in 1968, barely 1 year after taking power, Omar Bongo declared Gabon as a one-party country. Only one party was allowed in the whole of the country. All opposition parties were banned, with serious consequences spelled out for anyone who dared to violate the order. There was election in 1973 with Omar Bongo as the only candidate. He won unopposed, and all the candidates of his political party also won the election for seats in parliament. Omar Bongo governed without a deputy for a number of years. He was the all-in-all in Gabon politics and governance. He pulled the shots at every angle. He later appointed Leon Mebiame as vice president in 1975. Leon worked with him for several years and voluntarily resigned in 1990. It is instructive to mention that while serving as president, Omar Bongo held a number of ministerial offices for several years. He trusted no one with his security and thus retained the office of Minister of Defense for many years. He also served as Minister of Communication, National Planning, and Minister of Interior for many years. In 1986, Omar Bongo was again elected as President of Gabon. He stood unopposed at the election because at this time, Gabon was still a one-party state. In the early 1990s, Omar Bongo faced stiff opposition for his one-party state policy. There were riots and civil unrest in several parts of the country. The outcome of these was the lifting of the ban on political parties, which then ushered in a regime of multi-party politics in Gabon. The constitution of the country was amended to accommodate this new development. Multi-party political system was officially recognized in Gabon. In December 1993, presidential election was again held in Gabon under the new multi-party constitution. Omar Bongo still won at the election. His victory led to serious protests and rejection of the polls by opposition candidates. The civil disturbances led to the holding of a peace talk in Paris, known as the Paris Accord of November 1994, under which several opposition leaders were included in a government of national unity. This marriage did not, however, last for long. In the next round of legislative and municipal elections, Omar Bongo's party, the PDG, won most of the seats. In 1998, another presidential election was held in Gabon, and Omar Bongo again emerged as the president. In 2005, another election was held, and Omar Bongo still emerged as the winner of the election and was nicknamed President for Life by many people. Perhaps Omar Bongo would have contested again for the same office, but for the cold hands of death, which prevented him from further earthly contest. During his long years in office, Omar Bongo met with presidents of America and other world leaders. He was severally accused of having enriched himself and family with billions of state funds. He made a lot of money from oil being the mainstay of the economy of his country. He owned luxury mansions at home and abroad and had the best of life in everything he ever wanted. He lived in affluence throughout his presidency. He was accused of high-handedness in governance in a number of instances. Omar Bongo also had the support of several persons. He was really popular among his people, and at various times he yielded to the demands of the people, including students who protested against his government and demanded for more in the educational system. In an article published in New York Times of June 9, 2009 with the title, quote, Omar Bongo, Gabon's leader dies at 73, the author, Nosito Adam, had this to say about Omar Bongo, quote, under Mr. Bongo's rule, Gabon never had a coup or a civil war. This was a rare achievement for a nation surrounded by unstable, war-torn states, end of quote. Omar Bongo was loved by many and also hated by many. Omar Bongo is said to have married several women and also had several mistresses. At the time of Omar Bongo's death, he had not less than 30 children. Most of his children were ministers in his cabinet for several years. In May 2009, Omar Bongo took ill and was flown to Spain for treatment. On June 7, 2009, the news space was occupied with the news of the death of Omar Bongo. He died in a hospital in Barcelona, Spain. His body was flown back to Gabon, where it was laid in state for a record 5 days, with thousands of people paying their last tribute to the late president. On 16th June 2009, a state funeral was held in his honor, and same was attended by more than 24 heads of state and government in Africa. The funeral was also attended by the then President Nicolas Sarkozy of France and ex-President Jacques Chirac. The mortal body of Omar Bongo was thereafter committed to Mother Earth. This marked the end of the earthly life of Gabon's strongman and second president, President Omar Bongo. Omar Bongo was succeeded by his son Ali Bongo, who also ruled for many years until he was ousted from office in August 2023. Altogether, Omar Bongo ruled as President of Gabon for a record-breaking period of 42 years. Thanks for watching this edition of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notification on every new video.